just got to make sure everything's tuned.
Yes.
And I've got my music to cheat, so good cheating.
Good cheating.
Oh yeah,
I had to
like
fix
that.
the mic.
The lighting, this is actually better lighting. He's
There we
all
go.
washed out in this one.
No, he's not.
No,
There.
looks good.
All right.
Good.
Good.
Thanks.
Alright, Dad. Here's your spot.
Did I turn the way?
Nope, let's go.
No, it's not.
Fine. You want your coffee cup up here?
Yes.
Okay.
I need my coffee.
Yep, you got
He
it.
needs his coffee.
You got it. You got it.
All right. Tell me when you start to record.
I've been recording.
Oh, have you? Okay.
This is all going in.
Even my cheating. Don't let people know I cheat.
Because you have music out, that's not cheating.
Sometimes you just got to play a new song because that one's not working. That one's not working either.
Something up?
Yeah, my fingers aren't
Fingers
working.
not working?
Yeah, let me give it a second. You know, like a lot of things, sometimes I think I rush it. I'm getting in too much of a hurry. We just probably need to slow things down a bit. All right, try one more time. You ready? No, I guess that's not it either. All right, now tell me when we're ready.
I think you have that one on. I thought you had that one like memorized, like fully.
I do, but it's standing in front of a camera is a whole different deal.
Makes you feel it. I mean, yeah, it kind of applies to this whole coronavirus. It's just a whole different deal.
I'll try to get in a minute with the guitar.
All right.
One more time.
No, it's fine. This is a lot of this is just gonna go in.
Okay, great. All right, so, well, let's get started. Hello, everybody. My name is Terry Stockton. This is EDF315. Some of you I know because you've been in my past classes, and welcome to the craziness that is my class. Over this next semester, we're going to be doing a lot of work together. We're going to be spending a lot of time working on a lot of different pieces, but as coronavirus has changed a lot of things, as we move to an online format, I felt really conflicted. I felt conflicted because I think teaching is really a relational sort of experience. It's about you and me personally getting together and understanding the world around us. The fact that it's 30 people in a room doesn't change that for me. It doesn't change that for a lot of teachers because teaching is truly relational. It's about sitting down with somebody and having a cup of coffee and having a conversation. But that's only my perspective and my method. Over the next 16 or 8 weeks, depending on what we're doing in this term and how well this video goes, to be honest with you, we're going to be covering a lot of different material, a lot of different perspectives of education, a lot of different ways that people approach teaching and learning. And I wanted to start sitting here in my living room and kind of give you an idea of how things work. William Butler Yeats said, "Education is not filling a pail, but igniting a fire." And I love that quote because in a lot of ways, what we typically do is we sit down passively and allow education to happen to us rather than engage in the process. It's going to be much easier for you to sit passively and watch people work or read and fill out the appropriate paperwork to get through this coursework. And it's going to take a lot more of you and who you are as a person in order to engage in the material. So here's my plan. I'm going to give you videos. They'll be corny, they'll be silly, sometimes hopefully they're profound. But if I can't take the opportunity to speak with you directly in a classroom, I want to take you on some field trips. I'm going to take you to some of my favorite places or some places that I feel that are symbolic. I'm going to introduce you to people that I think are important. I'm going to introduce you to some people that can teach us some lessons. In order to do that, I want to introduce you to a few people who you'll see on and off camera as this time progresses. The main person is Grayson Stockton. He's my 16-year-old and my cinematographer over the next several weeks. He'll be helping us go ahead and work through it. Go ahead and say hi, Gray.
Hi, how's it going? I'm in the background, of course.
You can't see him because he's behind the cameras. My wife is helping out now and then. That's Rebecca. You will occasionally see two fluffy animals floating through the screens. One of them is my 14-year-old dog. The other one is the 3-year-old dog. That is who they are. Anyway, so this term, what we're going to be covering is a lot of material about how you learn. And I want you to always think about the question that I'm always asking. Who is education for? And so as we begin our journey together, we'll find a couple of formats that look similar. Today will be the most unusual in that you're going to see me in my house. Mostly you will see me building a fire. We'll be going outside into the world around us. We'll find and ask questions that are appropriate within a particular location. And I really hope that you enjoy the course. More importantly, whether you enjoy it, whether you like me, whether you think I'm corny, whether you're sitting there halfway through it going, oh my God, do I have to listen again? I need you to understand and I need you to learn because that's the most important pieces. So play my games and join me. Have a great time. Thanks.
Good.
Is that all right? You feel like that's good?
I mean, it's up to you.
Well, I should probably try the guitar again, right? See if I can get it right this time now that I'm a little calmer. It's funny how nerves make you do stupid things. No?
Take a deep breath. It's just a camera and me.
I also can't expect it to make me a better guitarist than I already.
I mean,
Yeah, I only have so many skills to work with. Oh well. It's the second.
second scene. Alright, great. Sounds good.
Tell me when you're ready.
It's already been recording.
Oh, has it? Oh, okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my backyard. Today, this is really a basic introduction to what we're going to cover. So I wanted to give you some highlights as to what it's going to look like. And when we were talking a lot about how to run this, my cameraman, Grayson. Wait, Grayson.
How's it going? I'm over here. Or over here. Depends on which mic or camera.
And so Gray and I were talking about how to do this. And I keep coming back to the main quote that you're going to find in your syllabus, which is, education is about igniting the fire. It's not about filling a pail. This isn't about a sponge in your brain. And so I wanted to take a few minutes and talk to you a little bit about how I want to structure this particular class. There's really three major ideas. The first thing I'm going to start to cover is I want to talk about just diverse perspectives in education. In case you're wondering, I am cheating. I got my little notes here because I mostly don't want to forget stuff, and usually I use PowerPoints as a way to keep myself in line. And so as we build this fire today, what I want you to know is that we're going to cover a lot of different perspectives. We're going to talk about the purpose of education. In a lot of ways, that's going to include especially information about not just what should be included in education, but what I consider the 5 pillars of really good education. The first thing we need to talk about always is going to be culture. If you don't pay attention to culture when you're working in a classroom, you're missing one of the most significant parts of a class. If you don't think about how we think about culture in general. Oftentimes what we do, unfortunately, is we think of culture as one big thing. Like there's the culture in your community. There's African American culture. There's Latino and Latina culture. But cultures are so much more important and so much more intricate than that. Each of us has a culture, and just like it's difficult to pinpoint what that culture is, oftentimes it's because we have several different cultures that come together and become something new. We become unique based on all of our cultures.
We're gonna have to have a little there's some wind coming through.
Okay.
So sorry to
That's
slow
all right.
your roll.
That's all right. Well, so what you should also know, as we start to think about this whole process, it is a work in progress like we all are, and as we start to build, the wind that you hear, this was supposed to not be a rainy day, and yet it is. So we have to figure out how to adapt to these things. Hence, as we build this fire, I brought out some drier wood so that we can get our fire going.
Whoa.
And there's some more wind. Just hold on a second while the wind goes through. It's pretty loud.
Hold on, I'm gonna try to cover it.
And so as we start to think about culture's a lot of things, but we'll get to that later. We're also going to talk a lot about practice of teaching. It's what students are most interested. Those are the nuts and bolts of the education classroom. It's who you are as a teacher. It's what you do on a daily basis. It's the theories that surround who you are as an educator. We're going to talk about perception, what your perception of students is, how that impacts your learning experience, their perceptions of you. We're going to talk a lot about that related to culture because none of these things are in isolation. They all come together. We need to talk about discipline. Everyone freaks out about classroom management. I love classroom management. I think we actually overestimate the difficulty of it, and we oftentimes think of classroom management as this thing that we do or don't do right. The reality is, this is my match. The reality is discipline is a lot simpler and a lot more complex at the same time, but oftentimes we think of it as punishment and rewards. When we make it punishment and rewards, we forget the student and we forget how to think about that person as an individual. We instead start to think about them as something less than. And the last thing within our 5 pillars is identity, and that's who you are as a teacher. We're also going to spend some time talking about research. What does research mean to you? How do we research and become educational scholars? What does the research help us understand who we are? And how do we think about not just research, but our classroom from different perspectives? That'll be the last thing we cover. But when we start, we got to figure out what education's for. That'll be our first lesson, and that's going to be the first thing we talk about right after this. Couple things about the class. The class is asynchronous. It means that you get to look at these videos whenever you want. I recognize many of you are probably going to look at other things while you do it. I don't mind. That's okay. Just make sure you get the information you need to. If you have to fast forward me because I'm boring, do that too. That's all right. Doesn't hurt my feelings at all. I'm not even going to know. Just tell me it's wonderful later. Let's see if we can get this fire going here. We're also going to, what you need to know about it is, as you start to see these pieces of information come in, I need you to do your reading. I know you don't like to read. I know you don't always care for it. Thank you, buddy. But what we have to do is we have to start thinking about how all of this stuff comes together and watch the videos that are professionally done, watch the ones that make this stuff happen. My fire is barely going. I might have to get a little more heat on it. So, and start to think about your own pace, what you need to do and how often you need to look at these things in order to help you understand the material. I don't care if you do well on a test. I care that you start to understand the theoretical constructs, because when you come into things like COVID, when you come into things like this experience that we're doing right now, this is not my strength. But what it is I know the theories of how teaching and learning occurs, and because I know those things, I can adapt. And it's through that adaptation process that we're able to start to change and mix things up so that we can have a learning environment that's different than what it had looked like before. I'm going to have you attempt different strategies of teaching and learning, different methodologies. I want you to figure out who you are as a teacher, not who you think I am. They're different, and you should find your own characteristic, you as an individual. You will be doing group work, and I know you don't like group work. I know it's going to annoy you. I know you're going to find it frustrating. I know it's going to be something that you hate, but it's something that's important to understand. Life is filled with groups, and this class has group work to it. You're going to be doing project-based learning because I think it's a really good way for us to work together. So as you work within your groups, it's going to be somewhat asynchronous. It's going to be something that is oftentimes feels somewhat artificial. But in that artificial sort of process, I want you to find some authenticity. Find who you are. Find out how your learning ties into what's going to happen to your classroom or your practice, because not all of you are going to be teachers. And finally, be ready to participate. I know that sounds odd in an online classroom. How do you participate? You participate in all kinds of ways. You participate by joining the discussion boards, by connecting with me personally if you're struggling. Contact me anytime. I want you to think about trying to connect with your partners that you have throughout this class.
Fire's not wanting to go, is it?
Well, it's wet. What are we
Yeah,
going
it's
to
a
do?
little
That's,
wet.
it is what it is. We're going to have a little fire until we get something better going. We could find some accelerants if we have to.
Some lighter fluid?
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Well, you go get the lighter fluid and I'll
I don't
start
know
it up.
where it is.
It's in the little bin over there by the grill.
Okay.
And so what we're going to do is I want you to ask questions. I want you to be curious. If I'm doing something that doesn't make sense, ask me what it's about. One of the things I try to do the most, that I really try to connect to on a regular basis, is I want you to be able to know that what I'm doing has strategy and theory behind it. I don't teach in a particular way because it's fun all the time. Although fun is a part of
Watch
it.
your
No,
eyes.
we got to back up. Let me back up. Don't set me on fire. I'll hate that. All right, go ahead. Boop. That should do it. That keeps going. Now we got fire.
Hold on, I
And-
gotta change the settings for the camera. 'Cause now there's new lights.
Now there's new light.
Well,
Let's just call it good. I mean, it's going to die down in a second anyway.
no, it's fine. Keep going.
And so, what I want us to do is have fun, to start to learn together, and figure out what this next way of learning can be. I hope you enjoy it. I, again, thank my partner in crime here, Grayson, and we'll sit down and talk about how it went real quick. Can you have a seat?
Yeah,
I'm going to introduce you to everybody.
sure.
I think you have to sit in a wet chair.
I'll just pop it. I'll just
You
sit.
get pop a squat. This is Gray. Gray's our audio technician, our cinematographer, our match lighter, our fire builder. And if you haven't noticed, you might notice there's some chickens in the background. They're a part of our screen as well. You'll hear some dogs now and then. This is truly, literally my backyard. And in fact, if you happen to know the bears, they live right there. So,
And if you keep hearing that yip, that's Autumn or Kira.
it's probably Kira.
Yeah, it's Kira. She's out in the.
She's old. What do you think?
I think it went well.
I do too. I think it's good.
All right.
I think it's fun to
It's
think
a
about.
wrap.
Yeah, and I covered the 5 pillars. I covered the purpose of ed. So the next time we meet, ladies and gentlemen, be ready to talk about the purpose of education.
Where will that be? Do you know?
I think we're going to start in the office.
In the office?
We'll start in the office. We'll
So-
see you there.